What is wrong with FC Barcelona? I feel like that's the million-dollar question right now. And I feel like all of us know where to point the fingers to get it right, to fix it. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, what's wrong with them? What is wrong with FC Barcelona? I know what's wrong with my Benfica. We suck. We suck, and we bought players for an election year. We'll get to them in a minute, but we should start with Barcelona. Another Champions League day, and another good day as well. It was a really, really fun watch. I had Benfica on the TV. I had Barcelona on the phone, watched both games. Obviously, I paid attention more to the Benfica game, but I was watching both games. Lamine Yamal made me feel like I was a baby again, watching Lionel Messi do Lionel Messi type things. It was amazing. And I put something on social media recently that said, listen, stay on that side with Lamine Yamal. And it's the same thing I stated when I said about Mbappe. Look, I backed Mbappe when everyone was hating on Mbappe. I backed him, and I'm backing Lamine Yamal. And I want to make this very clear. I want to make this very clear, and I want everybody to listen, because today I am going to collect a few receipts, not with my viewers watching this, but with certain Barcelona fans. I want you guys to know that there was Barcelona fans. There was Barcelona. There is videos. There is text, there is everything of Barcelona fans saying, talk less and focus more after the El Clasico performance from Lamine Yamal. There was Barcelona fans getting on Lamine Yamal's back after how bad he played in El Clasico. And after that day, I put on social media, stay on that side. If you're a Lamine Yamal hater now, stay on that side, because Lamine Yamal has too much talent for you to be a hater. Yeah, is he cocky? Does he talk too much? Does he need to be humbled at times? Absolutely. But that's what sports are. I don't know anyone. Look, man, I don't know anyone. I'm keeping this 100% real with y'all, man. You know, when I used to play sports when I was younger, right? When you score a basket or you shoot the ball into the back of the net, if you don't do a little bit of talking, then that's just not sports, man. That's what sports is, man. Like, you telling me that you've never scored a banger and looked at your opponent and like, sup, G? Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, I did that. Like, come on, are you serious? Like, you never, when we were growing up, somebody would hit a basket and look at you and say a mama joke. I ain't even lying, bro. They would say a mama joke back to you or something, bro. There would be some type of joke. Like, that's the way I grew up, bro. And it wasn't nothing where you get mad and start pushing. You would just be like, all right, I got you on the next one, G. And it would just kind of be that. It was never... And that's what Lamine Yamal's doing, bro. He's just vibing. He's a young kid having fun playing a sport. Did he have a terrible El Clasico? Absolutely. But should you have turned on him? Absolutely not. The goal he scored today, man, stop it. Get help, bro. This goal he scored today, bro, I mean, it reminded me so much of Lionel Messi, bro. The way he, like, I think it was Lopez who kind of touched it a little bit to flick it, but he runs through like 3 defenders, and then Lopez kind of does like this little back flick to keep Lamine Yamal kind of in track, to kind of mess the defender up a little bit, and Lamine Yamal just goes through, and the way he kind of like toe pokes into the back of the net with his left foot is just unbelievable, man. It's a goal that, like, if you love football, you love this goal. And if you love this football, if you love football, you love Lamine Yamal playing football. Like, there's no other way to put it, man. Like, I know there's this Real Madrid, Barcelona rivalry and all these rivalries in football, but there's no need for us to hate on Mbappe or Lamine Yamal because they play for a certain team. These guys are phenomenal football players, bro. And they're some of the only football players during a time of low block that are giving us entertaining football. Like, I say that with all of my chest and all of my heart. During a time of football where every team is playing a low block and it's very, very defensive and boring, there's only certain players trying to make a difference and bring the beautiful game to the beautiful game. And Lamine Yamal and Mbappe are 2 of them. I could think of when I was growing up, players that were like absolutely and crazy to watch. We had Nani, Ronaldo. Remember Robin? Robin was incredible. We had players like Hazard and Quaresma. And I could just remember these players would get the ball on the wing and really just start doing craziness, bro. Like, they were so exciting. And in this modern football, we don't really have that much. But we got it in Lamine Yamal. We got it on Mbappe. We got it on players like this. And Dembele does it a bit as well. Like, it's just so fun to watch. So I don't get why we hate so much, because, again, Lamine Yamal today showed a goal that was just unbelievable. And then I do want to say something. He also reminds me of another player. And Barca fans, don't get mad at me for this, because he was a phenomenal football player as well. Y'all remember the football player named Robin? Anybody remember him? Played for Chelsea in London. What is this white thing on my shirt, bro? Where's this white thing on my shirt, bro? I can't get it off neither. Y'all remember Robin that played for Chelsea, and then the guy that played for Bayern, and he was there with Ribery. Speaking of Ribery, what a player! Robin and Ribery played for Bayern together. Well, Robin always had this play, right? He was a phenomenal football player, by the way, but he would always do this little step over, cut inside, bang with his left. And Lamine Yamal is starting to remind me of that. My man will always gets the ball out on the right-hand side, and he does these quick step overs, and then he tries to finesse it into that back corner so often, bro. That's like his staple play right now. He's starting to become the Robin from Spain, bro. Like, straight up. He's starting to become Robin in my eyes, man. But then all of a sudden he does that Messi play. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because Robin was one of the best players in world football. If you guys remember him, he was incredible. But yeah, he has this cut in, but he was great. But let's talk about the negative, okay? Because we glazed Lamine Yamal enough. Barcelona have a massive problem, man. When in the summer, when they signed Marcus Rashford, I said a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of people like messaging me to this day, and they're like, look at these stats that Marcus Rashford has. Look at these stats. Look at these stats. These stats are incredible. These stats are phenomenal. These stats are the best. Look at these stats. Rashford's cooking. And to me, those stats are absolutely irrelevant, because when I said that they shouldn't have gone for Marcus Rashford and everything they went through with Marcus Rashford, with the whole like trying to register him and the money get him for him and this and that and all these things, all these problems, right, that you went through to sign him, you needed defenders, bro. And today it showed, because to be honest, I think Barcelona is lucky to leave Club Brugge Stadium with a draw. If I'm being fully brutally honest with y'all, I think they're very lucky to leave with a draw. Because I think, in my eyes, Club Brugge was the better team, especially going forward. Every time Barcelona lost the ball and Club Brugge went forward, it looked like they were going to score. Not only that, if I'm being truly honest with you guys, there's a play that happens where at the end of the game, Szczesny tries to do a little skill move and he kind of messes up. And the Club Brugge guy steals the ball through a slide tackle and scores. They goes to VAR and they say that he fouled Szczesny. I don't think he fouled Szczesny. I don't actually think he fouled Szczesny. I think Szczesny goes into him, if I'm being honest with you. I think he slides by and Szczesny is realizing that he's losing the ball and kind of goes into the player. For me, I don't think it's a foul, bro. I actually think that Club Brugge should have won the game on that play. But the ref called what he called. The ref is the ref. I'm not the ref. I'm just giving you my thoughts. If it's a foul, it's a foul. I thought it wasn't a foul. But it ends up 3-3, right? And the game ends on that. But it feels like, for me, every time Barcelona scored, Club Brugge hit right back, like instantly. And it's just like, this defense can't hold it together against anybody, right? Against anybody, they can't hold it together. And that's why I thought when they signed Marcus Rashford that it was a bad signing, because I thought they needed more on defense. Now, with that being said, if we could all tell the future, then we realize it's a good signing, because Lamine Yamal and Rafinha have missed so much time that Rashford's been such a big help to this team. But that's only because those guys have missed so much time. Had they not got injured, how much PT would Marcus Rashford be getting right now if they didn't move Rafinha to the cam position, if that makes sense what I'm trying to put down. So at the end of the day, I don't think that the signing was the best signing, because I think Barcelona is extremely weak on defense. And if I had to tell you, to be honest with you guys, Barca fans, I'm not trying to be mean about this, I don't see you guys winning the Champions League, because I don't see this defense being able to hold up against Bayern, against PSG. Even if you were to get Real Madrid in the knockout stages, I think y'all can beat Real Madrid, but I also think that Real Madrid will be able to put goals up against you guys. I think when you start getting to the really bigger teams in European football, can this defense compete against these bigger teams in European football? And I think this defense will hurt them. When Rafinha comes back, I think this team can score with anybody. I think Barcelona will be one of the best scoring teams in football, and I think they'll be able to create opportunities crazy. The problem is, defensively, will they be able to hold out any big team? Bayern, the PSGs, I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. So this defense is very, very weak in my eyes. 2 VAR calls went their way because there was a penalty call on the field, and there was a goal given, and then the penalty was taken away, and the goal was taken away. I don't think it was a penalty, by the way, but I do think the Szczesny one was not a foul. But with that being said, I do see a lot of problems with Barcelona's defense, and I don't know exactly how you fix it at this point. You're almost at January. Maybe they could fix it at January. But I was not impressed with Barcelona today. Again, a draw here is not a bad result for Barcelona. You're away, you're getting a draw. It's not a bad result, because especially you already put up good points in the Champions League. No, I'm pretty sure they I'm trying to remember, but they're in 11th. They now have 1 loss, 1 draw, 2 wins. But they're fine, bro. They're more than fine. They're on 7 points right now. This was a game that they should have won. If we're being 100% truly honest with each other, it's a game that we definitely should have won. Let's just switch gears to Benfica. And I don't even want to talk about this, because it just, man, sports for me this year has been terrible, man. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I'll tell you what, man, if I wasn't such a hardcore sports fan, I wish I could just take a year off. I ain't even lying, but I can't stop watching sports. My Washington Commanders have lost like every single player, and now our quarterback broke his arm. It's just been terrible. It's been awful to watch that. And then Benfica's just been a mess. But I knew Benfica was going to be a mess, man, because Benfica unfortunately signed players for Ricosta to win an election, not because they were putting together the best possible team that Benfica could put together to attack the year. They bought players that weren't necessarily needed, like Rios. I think Rios is a good player, but I don't think that Benfica necessarily needed that player. And they can't score goals. If you look at what they did against Bayer Leverkusen, they actually dominated Bayer Leverkusen. Nasty. They hit the post, the post and crossbar twice. They had so many opportunities, and then just a mistake from Dowell in the back, heading the ball back into play when you should never. You could have knocked it out for a corner, and it falls right to the Bayer Leverkusen player, and they lose. They've now played 4 games and have 0 points. I've never seen Benfica this bad in the Champions League. I have 1 year. 1 year they pretty much like went crashing out of the Champions League. I think it was like 2-3 years ago where they barely got any points in their 6 games, the old format. But Mourinho was hired for a big name so Ricosta could win the election. That Ivanovic or whatever his name is, he was brought in as a big name, right? Rios, and he doesn't even play. Rios was brought in as a big name. They brought in big name players so fans could be excited. So Ricosta could win an election. If I'm being truly honest with you, do I think the person that's running up against him for presidency is better than Ricosta? I'm not sure, if I'm being honest with you. But the way that Ricosta has bought players since being, and I'm a huge Ricosta fan, by the way. He's one of my favorite Benfica players of all time. Him, João Pinto, Nuno Gomes. I love those guys. Simão Sarrosa. Those are my favorite players at Benfica, man. Javier Garcia, the list goes on. But the truth is they signed players that just were poorly signed, bro. Very, very poorly signed, but not just this year, over the last few years. The defense hasn't worked for a long time. I think Otamendi plays really hard, but I think his time might be up at Benfica. I know he plays extremely hard. He gives everything for the shirt, but the problem is that it just hasn't worked for the last few years. And their defense gets scored on so much. Their attack is not good enough. They don't have enough creative players. So again, in my eyes, man, they just signed a bunch of players for Ricosta. They spent a bunch of money, by the way, and they have 0 points in the Champions League. It's a mess of a season, bro. It was all about this elections this year. The whole thing was about elections, and the performances were just not there, right? So it's very, very sad, man. Being a Benfica fan watching this, it's very, very sad. Other games that went on, you're gonna get my live reaction here because I have no idea. I watched those 2 games and that was it. Other games that went on, Villarreal lost. Wow. Chelsea tied to that Korabag team. Wow, Chelsea tied. Wow. City won 4-1 against Dortmund. Newcastle won 2-0. Galatasaray won 3-0 against Ajax. Benfica lost to Bayer Leverkusen. Club Brugge tied to Barcelona. Inter won their game 2-1. And Alantia beat Marseille. Wow, this is a week with a lot of upsets. Club Brugge upset over Barcelona. Chelsea game was an upset. Wow. Some upsets, man. Some upsets this week. Very, very interesting. But yeah, man, that's really all I got, lads. I don't, when you look at the Benfica stats of that game, bro, it's unbelievable, man. Benfica had 19 shots and 6 on target, couldn't score a goal. Bayer Leverkusen had 2 shots on target and scored a goal and beat us. We had more possession, more passes, more attacks, more everything. We just couldn't put the ball into the back of the net, and Bayer Leverkusen could, and they won the game. And then when you look at the Barcelona game, this game, if you look at the stats, Barcelona had 23 shots, 7 on target. Club Brugge had 11 shots and 6 on target and tied the game. Barcelona has 77% possession. But again, when they lose that ball and the other team gets the ball, it is very, 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 very hard for Barcelona to defend. One thing I do want to say before we end this video is, when do we put more respect on Bayern Munich? Because I think they're undefeated in the Champions League right now, and they're top of the table. So at what point do we start looking at the German side like, wait, this might be the best team in football? Because it's starting to get there. It's starting to get there. I don't really see anybody else that's like, who y'all got? Last year was pretty easy. It was like Liverpool, Barcelona. We knew who the best teams in football were. I think this year it might be Bayern and Arsenal, if I'm being honest with you. Bayern hasn't lost a game or tied a game in the Bundesliga. 9 games played, 9 wins, 27 points, 33 goals for. And the Champions League, they're 4-0. Damn. This team is 4-0 in the Champions League and 9-0 in their league. Bayern might be the best team in Europe, y'all. Yeah, they're kind of doing it, man. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash that thumbs up, subscribe, turn your bell on. I love you guys, man. I will catch you guys for some more football talk very soon. Y'all be safe, all right? Love you guys.